Hello there. I'm going to create a lecture series on about the theory of Raman scattering. So the first topic that I'll be discussing is the polarizability tensor to give you an idea about how the tensors work or give you a feel about what a tensor actually is. So you might have read in your earlier classes that if you take any crystal and you apply an electric field in certain direction. Now these are the electric field, so then the charges in that crystal will be uh, reorganized in a way that they minimize their potential energy that like suppose so if this is the electric field, they are going to be organized in this direction. The negative charges will be this side, positive charges will be this side. So this is like the application of electric field uh, induces a dipole in that crystal. So we define, or in bulk systems we measure about how much this dipole is induced by a quantity known as the polarization. So polarization is actually a vector, and it refers to the dipole moment per unit volume of that crystal or whatever structure you are taking. So it's the dipole moment per unit volume. And as you can see, the more we apply electric field, the more the charges will get separated, and the more the dipole will be induced. So dipole is given by q into d. So the more the separation between the charges increases, more the dipole moment increases, and thus the dipole moment induced is proportional to the electric field applied. And we say that the polarization along a certain direction is proportional to the electric field, and in general along a direction it is given by alpha e. Hmm. Here alpha is called the polarization constant. Hmm. So suppose now you take a crystal, suppose this crystal, and apply electric field along x direction. So in different directions for any crystal, their polarization may be same, or the extent of polarization may be different. We'll look at one of the cases at the end of this lecture. So suppose you apply electric field along the x direction. Hmm. Suppose this much of polarization is induced, and suppose now you apply an electric field of same magnitude along the y direction, and suppose this much polarization is induced in the y direction. This is the electric field ey. So let me name it e2. This is the y direction. So now suppose you rotate the crystal, you rotate this crystal in their coordinate axis. Suppose you rotated it at 45 degree. So the polarization will now be a vector sum of this p1 and p2, and the electric field which we applied is actually a vector sum of e1 and e2. So this is the resultant polarization, and this is the resultant field applied when the crystal is rotated at 45 degree with respect to the reference which we took earlier, which was along this x direction. So as you can see, the polarization in a crystal is not always uh, along the same direction as the electric field, but it may be but it's always proportional to the magnitude of the electric field. Hmm. So in general case, suppose you take any crystal. Okay, so in general, if you take any crystal and uh, you apply an electric field, the polarization, so this will be a specific case which we took, this one. And in general, the polarization is, suppose you apply an electric field along this one and along y-axis, and the polarization due to this E1, which is along x direction, is going to be a superposition of both x and y, because the crystal can be in any orientation as discussed in this case. So this E1 will induce dipole moments along both directions, and this will be our P1 due to E1. And for E2, suppose it can be a different case, like suppose you take this one. So now the polarization, net polarization is this one, and our net electric field is this. Yeah, so you see, in general case, this polarization direction is not the same as the electric field direction, but the magnitude of polarization is proportional to the magnitude of electric field applied. Hmm. So in general, suppose you apply an electric field along x direction, so there will be polarization induced in all the directions, and the magnitude of polarization will thus be given by some constant multiplied by the electric field. Polarization along y will be some constant by the electric field, and same for the z1. So here the electric field applied along the x direction induces a polarization in all the other directions, x, y, z, each having its own proportionality constant. So similarly, if you apply electric fields along other directions also, we will get uh, polarization induced in all the directions. This is the general case. So Pz equal to alpha zy y. Similarly, for the z case, if the electric field is along z direction, you will get Px equal to alpha zy Ez, Py equal to alpha yz, sorry, this is alpha xz Ez, and Pz equal to alpha zz Ez. So I'll again repeat this notation. This alpha is the constant of polarization along any direction, where alpha axis denotes that constant of polarization for electric field along applied, means how much the dipole moment is induced for the electric field applied along x direction. Here how much dipole is induced along y if the electric field is applied along x direction, and here how much the dipole moment is induced along z if the electric field is applied along x. Same is for the other cases. So now we are all set to uh, describe the total general scenario. uh, Suppose an electric field, a general electric field is applied, which is spread along all directions. Suppose this is our electric field. Then the polarization along all the directions will be sum of the dipoles induced due to electric field in all these directions. So for example, Px will be like alpha xx Ex plus polarization induced along x due to electric field along y plus polarization induced on x due to electric field on z. Same will be the case for other. Let's take this y, alpha y y y, alpha y z e z p z equal to alpha zx ex plus alpha zy ey plus alpha zz ez. So as you know, these are three linear equations and you can represent this in the form of a matrix, and in general the polarization vector is described as this quantity. Zz multiplied by this electric field. So this quantity which we just sort of derived is known as the tensor of polarizability. Similar tensor can be built for uh, other cases like magnetic polarizability, and there are lots of other cases where you can build higher dimensional tensors. So this is just like tensor. You can feel it as like how it affects a vector along all the directions. Hmm. So a tensor is something uh, you can think of. Here in this case it's like affecting an electric field to cause some other uh, phenomena. So now we'll see another case, an example, just an example. Like if you take an H2 molecule, so you know that the electron density in the ground state is localized like this, and if we take this to be the x-axis, this to be the y-axis, and this to be our z-axis, then electric field applied along different directions will induce different extent of polarization. Here suppose if electric field is applied along this direction, then as you can see from symmetry, due to the distribution of this charge, the electrons will be most affected if electric field is applied along x-axis. So here will be most rearrangement of charges, and compared to y and z. Because charges are less allowed to move upwards or sideways compared to along the internuclear axis. Suppose if instead of this the hydrogen would have had certain orientation like this, some superposition of xyz, then depending on that orientation the different directions will have different extents of polarization. And so huh, so for but in general, but in all the cases the polarization will be the same. like the magnitude of the polarization will be the same, and it doesn't depend on which coordinate axis we are taking. So if I uh, if you want, I can make another video on how this polarization shifts, like how changing of the coordinates axis or the our reference frame doesn't have any effect on the polarization of the crystal, the net polarization of the crystal. So yeah, that's all about polarization. Thank you, and if you have any doubt, leave comments.